While Diablo 4 Season 1 is off to a miserable start, let us keep talking about a free alternative, Path of Exile, in this second part of leveling arguably one of the best ever League starter builds, Righteous Fire Juggernaut. If you have not watched my part 1, where I've covered Acts 1 through to the start of Act 3 in greater detail, because that was the early start, of course I was putting greater detail in, do yourself a favor and watch that video first before continuing with this one. I will wait. Regarding any rewards and what to take after each quest and so on and so forth, I will only call out the important bits, as it saves us the time, and if I don't say something, it means that you need to refer to the build linked in as a screenshot in the description of the video, and preferably do yourself a favor and download and use a free Path of Building tool and use my import string for this build. Import the string into the tool, and while not being as detailed as some other Path of Building imports out there, it will still give you a rundown of what essential gems to look out for and some other pointers as quest rewards and or what to purchase from the vendors. It should give you a very good idea. I'm just trying to save you the time, not talking too much in this video. We are continuing our path to glory from the start of Act 3, as we've just beaten Val of Soul and entered the outskirts of City of Sarn. You should be between level 26, as early as 26 is possible, and maybe 30, depending on how much sidetracking and how much trash you were killing along the way, and therefore leveling up faster. You will help Clarissa find Tolman in Crematorium. Don't bother even entering Sun town proper. Before you do, just walk past it. Go, find Crematorium entrance, yeah, then come back and get your rewards. She will give you the key to the sewers, where you will find platinum busts for Hagen and continue your journey through the act, relying heavily on your Righteous Fire damaging ability and assisting Righteous Fire with Holy Flame Totem and throwing in a few flame walls around. There is nothing too complex or really confusing during this level stretch, and generally through the game. You simply need to talk to people with exclamation marks and return to town when objectives are complete. So just keep going until you finally get the means to unblock the undying blockage in the sewers that you initially would walk past and you wouldn't be able to pass through it. Well, there will be a point when you can open it. And once you are past that point, you will find and fight the mini-boss General Gravicius. After you kill him, you will get properly loved by all the Sun citizens, and you should be at that point somewhere between levels 31 and 33 possibly, unless yet again you've been shambling around a lot more and didn't rush. I don't blame you. It's not hard to outlevel content with this build, as you literally wipe everything off the map as you run around. It simply burns everything around you, unlike with many other builds where you simply run past mobs. We will fast forward here to the end of Act 3, where you will reach Dominus and his crew of misfits at the top of a mysterious tower. You will kill him with zero issues, as you are all armor and resistances at that point. This is where Act 4 will start. Act 4 will start with a picturesque aqueduct journey that is a pretty much straight line, a very simple map that will lead you all the way to the city of Highgate, where the first order of business would be to unlock access to the mines that initially would be sealed, and you need to kind of take a little bit of a detour there and find Vol, the Emperor of Purity. Once you kill him, he drops the item, the green quest item called Deshret's Banner. You will use it to unlock the entrance to the mines. As with the other acts, it is once again a rather straightforward way through. The map's ahead of you, so I will once again not waste your and my time telling you about literally every step there. Just keep going as you were. Before you do that though, this is probably a good time for you to revisit Sarn and enter Emperor's Labyrinth for the first time. Remember how in the first part we talked about the Trials of Ascendancy? Well, my friend, it is the time for you to ascend the very first time and to watch my part 1 of this video guide in case you skipped it and didn't watch it. As you access the entrance dish at the Labyrinth entrance, you will see a menu that shows you several levels at which Labyrinth can be accessed, with the first one, this one, the one that we're about to try, being accessible as early as level 33, as long as you have completed Trials of Ascendancy. But we should be around level 35, 37 by this point by my calculations, and I always like to outlevel content by a couple of levels, as it makes fighting bosses and just kinda not caring about anyone much easier and simply more pleasant gameplay wise. So finish the Labyrinth, good luck beating the Emperor, you should be okay, and ascend as Juggernaut. I'd take Unflinching as your very first big node, and we will be first working ourselves up to the mode of generating endurance charges when we're hit, which will make us even tougher. And with the next follow-up Ascendancy node, we will also get those charges to increase our damage. That is something for you to look forward to. How awesome is that? You will keep going through the Act 4 until you reach Malachai the Nightmare in the bowels of some horrible beast. Don't question it, just keep going. It's a nightmare, it's not supposed to make much sense. Killing Malachai will bring you to Act 5. Act 5 brings you to a nice looking city, I think it's a nice city anyway, and through a very crowded Templar courts, where once again just running through the corridors you will burn everything on your way. I have to say, in the context of the game, it is a very satisfying moment for this particular build. Eventually you will find the chamber where you will fight and kill High Templar Avarius. It's a long fight, not because you can't kill him faster, but simply because it goes through stages. So he becomes inactive, you kill his helpers, little helpers, then you get back to fighting him. That's kinda how it goes. So once you kill him, spoiler alert, you are freeing up the evil and very hungry god Kitava. Eventually you will get to Kitava as well, and you will fight him on a rooftop, yeah? And while your build is solid enough to just stand there, more or less, and not die from his hits, the story goes in such an unfair way that he will kill you. And most importantly, you will lose 30% of your resistances permanently, minus 30% to your elemental resistances. Well, you will get resurrected by a helpful NPC who becomes your friend from that point onward. Well, word friend is used loosely here. And that is why, once again, it is so important for you to keep stacking those resistances, as something like this will push you back in terms of your capped resistances quite substantially. And spoiler alert, especially if you're very new, this pushback will happen one more time before you reach the end game. So be ready for it. Keep stacking those resistances. Act 6 brings you back to the very start of your journey. They throw you all the way back, yep, and you will be revisiting familiar areas, except they would have changed quite a bit in some cases, and familiar characters who you have met at the very beginning of the game would have changed as well. Again, just follow the quest line, you've guessed it, and around level 54 consider taking the scenic Detour and deviate from the main quest line to do a bit of Heist side content. How do you do it? Well, at some point as you go through maps, you will find special currency. Let's call it that. Right-clicking on those little tokens, on those little coins, should open a portal that takes you to Rogue Harbor with a whole bunch of brand new characters, few new quest lines, very interesting, rather deep game within a game, which I have personally discovered quite late, and ever since then it remains one of my favorite side activities, leveling ways, gear acquisition ways in Path of Exile, putting anything that Diablo 4 so far presented to us at a premium price tag to absolute shame. Anyway, I'm getting distracted again. Enjoy the heist. Follow instructions of people with exclamation marks above their heads as one thing you need to remember throughout Path of Exile. Act number 6 ends with you finding and beating there is no other way of saying it, pervert crab Tazagoth, the Brine King, and his perverted mermaid fiancée Nessa, which takes you to Act number 7. If you are about level 56, 57, time to go and do the Labyrinth, the Emperor's Labyrinth, for the second time and get another Ascendancy point, which you will spend by taking the node called Unyielding. You should be getting rather hard to kill by now. Not that you would have had any issues with your survivability to this point anyway, not by my calculations. And especially if you were following my guide and putting the talent points in the right places and looking at the path of building import in the process. Around level 58 you should retrieve Maligaro's map, which will help you in turn to reach the blocked off area of the map. Now, in this act, you will go past the camp of possessed Groost and beat the god demon Ralakesh that is basically possessing Groost, earning another free talent point, which is always nice. I like Act 7, it's probably one of my favorite, maybe the favorite one, because of the foresty areas, lots of spiders, and just the effect of righteous fire that it has on all those little mobs running to you. I don't know, it's just particularly satisfying. You let me know what you think. Act number 7 ends with another perverse beast fight against the giant spider Arakaali, and this time a male fiancé of that spider who was stupid enough to enter that, well, I don't know what to call it, engagement, and, spoiler alert, got eaten in the process. Don't do that at home, kids. And this is where I think I will start wrapping up, because it's sort of a reasonable time for us to cut off this part number 2 of my detailed Righteous Fire Juggernaut League starter leveling guide. We have 2 more acts left in the game and the start of endgame mapping to cover in the final part 3 that is coming up soon, and the priority on that content relies on your level of engagement, aka if people want certain content and ask for it and show me that they like it, I always prioritize it over something else. Otherwise, I just prioritize my own fun and I play whatever I want to play. Yeah, whatever takes my fancy. This is just to remind you to always like the videos that you liked and that you want more of, as that's your main way of telling me that you enjoy my content. So please do like the video, leave a comment letting me know how you are going with your leveling process, if you are leveling this build as well. Check out the description always for updates, corrections, and further information and useful links. And I will talk to you in the final part 3 soon enough. Goodbye for now.